Hey Eurovision fans, Nebulossa will represent Spain in Eurovision 2024 with their song Zorra. We're going to listen and react to the live performance from Benidorm Fest. Then we're going to look at Spain's 10-year record, the odds, the community rankings, talk about how this could do with the jury and the televote, and ultimately how this can do in the grand final of Eurovision 2024. So let's kiki. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So the final of Benidorm Fest happened last Saturday. It was a relatively exciting affair. It's hard to have a lot of hype for Benidorm Fest because the results are revealed after each semi-final, but the overall winner was Nebulossa with their song Zorra. So Nebulossa is a duo electro-pop group from Andorra, Spain. It's Maria and Mark. They're actually married. So they're a married couple with 2 children. I can't remember the last time we had a couple in Eurovision. I think Sebi from Slovenia in 2019, and then also Madame Monsieur from France. So it doesn't happen that often, but yeah, to be actually already married with kids, that's kind of cool. And Nebulossa actually entered Una Voce por San Marino last year, which is San Marino's national final, and they didn't even make it to the final. So this is the ultimate comeback to not qualify for San Marino's national final and then come back and win Spain's national final, which is probably one of the biggest in the whole season. So what a difference a year can make. So I've already reacted to the song. This was my number 4 out of 16 in that initial reaction. So today I'm going to be checking out the national final performance. I'm going to be focusing a little bit less on the song because obviously I already reacted to that, and a little bit more on the visual package, what staging concepts Spain might come up with, their storytelling, stuff like that. I'm almost definitely going to have to alter the audio due to copyright reasons, but if you want to hear the original audio, I'll put that up on my Patreon. But once again, I'm focusing on the visuals anyway, so it's not too important. There's no headphones in it, that's useful. This is Nebulossa Zorra, Wanna Know My Secret Bang. I love the little icons in Benidorm Fest, so cool. Really iconic, starting with that keyhole. Really, really, really pretty. And it's got a really cool retro disco dance feel at the start, which I think a lot of people will enjoy. Love this red cabaret feel, like that we're in an expensive club with lots of velvet. And she's quite playful in her delivery with her head turns. I love this seat in the middle because it makes you feel like you are in the club, and she's giving you like a one-on-one performance. Lose. That Lose needs to be on the screen, I think. The chandeliers as well, really pretty. Just giving like a class and elegance. This is a bit where her vocals sound a little bit weak now. You can hear her very loudly. Just need a little bit more power or one more backup singer to help her. But it's good, like some of the camera angles are really cool. The dance is obviously fantastic. They're really awesome. Okay, and due to the crowd, obviously don't do that at Eurovision. Fine for Benidorm Fest. It's so naughty and outrageous. I knew it was coming because I've already seen it. It's so funny. It's just very, very sassy. Yeah, vocals need to be a little bit stronger. But the song's just got a nice, easy beat to it. And you can see that it's a song about empowerment, about everyone, kind of like LGBT plus community, women as well. So there are good ideas here. This definitely needs to be cleaned up a lot though. That note needs to be worked on. She's got plenty of time. And there's nice things. The lips is cool. I like the Zorra popping up. Staging, her styling is really nice as well, actually. We don't really get very many images of Mark, and when we do, they're quite like shaky. This bit's good now. People will really get in with this disco-themed electronic rhythm. I think they need to use this slower bit a little bit better. They can come up with some cute ideas for it. Yeah, vocals just needs a little bit more vocal training work. And I like that little kiss. Something like that is really cute and endearing, building that connection. And this is the bit. Yeah, really, really great ending as well. So look, there's lots of great things here. Let's go through it all. Let's first talk a little bit about the artist. So obviously it is a duo, it's Mark and Maria, but obviously I think the focus is significantly more on Maria. Mark, I don't know if he voluntarily just wants to be a little bit more in the background, but yeah, she's very much the forefront. I love this representation. We so rarely see women of this demographic getting a chance to be heard in Eurovision. The Eurovision skews very heavily towards younger artists. There's definitely a bias there. So seeing this demographic represented for me, I love it. I really, really, really love it. And especially in such a badass way, like really sassy, like F you, I'm doing what I want. And I got two naked dudes who are worshipping me on either side. I really like that, as opposed to like that demographic, which often gets put into a box where they have to sing a ballad, or for example we have ladies like this in Sweden, but they kind of always get given Schlager songs. So yeah, I just like to see this like mold breaking representation of a woman from a different generation in Eurovision. That alone is like super, super cool. And she seems really sweet and endearing. Her reaction when she won looked very like genuinely humble and surprised. She comes across as extremely likable, and I like the moments where she like kisses at the camera and she's like quite playful and she goes to the audience. So she's part of the community, and I like that she's interactive, and I like those moments, and I would like there to be even more of them, those connections. Maybe not singing to the audience though, because you know, you do want people to hear the full song. But yeah, overall I really, really like them as a representative, and it's cool that they're married with kids, because that performance doesn't really give off like typical nuclear family performance, but actually people can have multiple sides to who they are. Let's talk a bit about the song now. So easily the strongest part of this song for me is the lyrics. The lyrics, if you haven't read the translation, are really, 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 really fun. They're very cool. It's a feminist and power anthem on the most superficial level. So she's talking about no matter what she does, no matter how successful or happy she is, people are going to put her down, say that she doesn't deserve it. So here's a lyric: when I get what I want, bitch, 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 it's never because I deserve it, bitch, bitch. And even though I'm conquering the world, it's not valued, not for a second. And obviously now this can be extrapolated to lots of people who are kind of looked down on because of who they are or what they are. And that bitch that you feared so much became empowered, and now she's a picture perfect bitch. So really playful, and has a lot of meaning to it as well. Like, this is covering an important topic, but it's doing it in a very sassy, spunky way. And it's not complaining, it's like, it's being bitchy. It's being bitchy in a fun way. I also saw online that the song references about Manuela Trasobares, the first ever trans elected councillor in Spain. So that was another meaning that I just didn't realize behind the song. She's quite famous in Spain for doing this very iconic interview where she was talking about how the discrimination that her and other minorities felt, and how they were tired of how they were being treated by society. And the interview culminated in her throwing the cup, tira la copa, on the ground, which is like a sign of rebellion, being fed up with how she and her peers were being treated. So I think that could be something that they could possibly use in the LEDs to help get the story across without translating it into English. If they have perhaps some video from these interviews or some images, and then the throwing of the cup, and maybe even throw the cup at the end of the song, that could be a really cool way to demonstrate the meaning of the song while still maintaining the original Spanish lyrics and while still maintaining the spirit of the performance. It's interesting because the word Zorra in Spanish, one of the translations would be bitch, but it does seem like the word is a bit more vulgar in Spanish than it is in English. In English, bitch is not a particularly bad word. Like, you can say it on TV. It's not a nice thing to say, but it's not like, ooh. I think in Spanish it's a little bit more severe. There was a bit of talk, would they have to change the lyrics with the EBU? And apparently the EBU has said okay, which kind of makes sense because honestly, as a foreigner hearing Zorra, it just doesn't mean anything to me. And then obviously in Spain, it's not a big issue because it won the national final. So yeah, I kind of agree with that decision that it doesn't make sense to change it. Plus it means we're learning a new Spanish word. One thing about the lyrics though, I will admit, is that when I did my initial review, I have like beginners, maybe intermediate Spanish, and I didn't pick up on the meaning at all. So like I said, I put that 4th in my ranking video. If I'd known the meaning, definitely this would have been a Pyrex. It's got such a fun and important message. So this is the thing I kind of worry about, because the strongest aspect of the song is the meaning and its lyrics. And with this current staging, that's not going to come across. I think people watching it in Europe are just going to be like, have no idea what's going on. They're going to focus probably on the two dudes showing their asses. I think that'll be like the focal point, particularly with the way that the press very superficially covers the contest. They will just latch on to something like, oh, he's showing his ass. they'll kind of like almost ignore her and the meaning of the song and just be like, there's an ass there. Like, this is the headline. That's just the reality of quick, trashy news coverage. So I hope that they are able to convey this meaning of the song in some way, with maybe a little bit of an acting tableau on the stage, or using those two dancers, but maybe somehow just getting them to act out something that portrays that message to people who don't speak Spanish. Now, obviously, when they design this staging, they're designing it for Benidorm Fest. They know that everyone in the audience understands all the lyrics, so they didn't really need to worry about that. So I hope that this staging is going to change and consider that they need to build this bridge to other Europeans. I hope they keep the song in Spanish, because I love that it's in Spanish. You know, could they change a couple of words into English? Maybe, I don't know, that could work. Maybe they could say bitch, 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 or have Zorra pop up on the screen with bitch below. There's so many different ways to do it. The song can't reach its full potential unless people know about this cool meaning. And like I said, I think it's a stronger aspect of the song, and it would be a shame to not utilize your strongest card. Let's talk a little bit about the staging and performance now. In terms of the visual aspect, I love the red velvet color palette. It makes us feel like we're at an expensive cabaret club, maybe going back a couple into like the 50s or the 60s, even kind of like in Paris in one of those, the Moulin Rouge or something like that. I love the seats. That's super cool, and they did use them. Obviously, she leaned back in it for that overhead angle. The chandeliers were cool as well, and they had the Zorra popping up, and we had the circular Zorra on the ground. There were lots of really cool visual ideas. I like the font, I like the color palette. So actually, in terms of like the visual, what we see, I think it looks ready to go. It's the storytelling and message conveying. They created a package for Spain, now they need to create a package for Europe. Vocally, she just needs to work with a vocal coach. She needs to get a little bit more power. They've got one person they can have as a backup singer as well. They can have 6 people in total, so the 2 of them, the 2 dancers who I assume they're keeping. They had one girl who was playing like electronic drums, so maybe one backup singer. The song is really good, like it's very catchy. I've had this in my head that Zorra, Zorra, Zorra is really just gets stuck in your head. A little bit of a concern about that is it does maybe take a bit of time. Like I had to listen to it 4 or 5 times before that got stuck in my head. And Spain are going straight into the final, so they're only gonna get heard once. So they have to make that impact immediately. I do think the intro is really good at showing that off though, because you get that disco feel in that first 10 seconds, like straight away. So they are coming with a different vibe that'll help them stand out. Okay, so with that in mind, how is this gonna do in Eurovision? This is the big question. Or is it the big question? So I personally think that there were other songs in Benidorm Fest which would be more obvious to get a good result in Eurovision. And I posted about that on Twitter, and all the replies were from Spaniards saying, we don't care. We don't care about the results. We got totally screwed over last year with Blanco Paloma. We just want to have fun and send something that represents us and that we absolutely love. Which I love. That's a cool message. And I kind of get it, because if you ask me what was the biggest robbery of last year, Blanco Paloma getting 5 points in the Televote. And I said that in all my grand final analysis videos that I did. And I know lots of people, that song just didn't rub them the right way. They didn't like it. I thought it was like a piece of art, and lots of people felt it was a piece of, but obviously not enough people felt that way. So I understand why Spanish people are like, we sent something amazing last year, we got paid absolute peanuts for it, so screw it, we're just going to send the thing that we love instead. Because if they were going to go for best result, I believe St. Pedro would have gotten them the best thing. I think he was like, in my opinion, guaranteed top 3 in the jury, which pretty much means you're automatically going to be top 10 in the overall results. Televote, I don't know, but I think he would have been top 10. Spanish people this year, they don't care about results, and I get it. Once bitten, twice shy, and they just want to have fun and love their entry this year. So I totally support that. I kind of didn't understand the decision at the start, because when I'm looking at each country, I have my own like mini personal goals. So for example, for Iceland, I want them to win for the first time. Ireland, I just want us to have a better national final, to develop our national final into a standalone show with semi-finals. And my personal goal for Spain is I want them to win, because I really want them to host and kind of get acknowledgement for how big a change they've made. But Spanish people have a different goal. At the end of the day, Spanish people choose their song, like what I think is like totally irrelevant. But I'm just explaining why I was coming from a mentality of, I was quite shocked when St. Pedro didn't win, but it makes sense when Spanish people explain it to me. So how's this going to do with the juries? So definitely the vocals need to improve, big time. Like those vocals won't cut it. If they're looking for an excuse to mark her down, they'll just use the vocals, no problem. And already with a bit of like showing off the booty, 2 sets of booties, and there may be more conservative people in the jury who are already a little bit cold towards this because of that. You got to keep in mind that juries in Benidorm Fest are people in the Eurovision industry. They are very different from the types of juries that we have in Eurovision, who are hired by the broadcaster, and they tend to just be like local music professionals from the country. They aren't Eurovision buffs most of the time. In my opinion, tend to be a bit more conservative. So a jury in Benidorm Fest and a jury in Eurovision are different. I don't think that we can get too complacent that because this did well with the jury in Benidorm Fest, that translates into a good result. I think they need to convey the meaning of the song so that people can't just dismiss it because of the buts. The butt thing, I don't know how that's going to go down. First of all, I don't know if they'll be able to do it. I presume they will because honestly, Chanel showed her butt as well. So I don't see why Chanel is allowed to show her butt, but Nebulossa's dancers aren't. I think some jurors are going to mark down because of that, because I think they might be a little bit more conservative. I think jury people will respect the visuals though. They might like the nostalgic sound of the song. It's going to stand out. And I think that if Spain can convey this super cool message somehow to non-Spanish speakers, that will help a lot. At this point in time, I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere mid-table with the jury. That would be my guess, 15th, 16th approximately. But a lot of that can change depending on their staging, elevation. Do I associate Spain with staging elevation? No, not really. Blanca Paloma's staging was amazing, but she came with that to Benidorm Fest. Chanel's staging was amazing, but she came to that with Benidorm Fest, and I felt a lot of that was Kyle Nakamura and the team that were working in Los Angeles. We've also had a delegation change as well. The head of delegation has switched. So this is a great opportunity for the new head of delegation to prove that she can elevate, because this is the type of thing that if it was done really, really, really well, actually this could get a good result. But the Benidorm Fest package, I think, would be bottom 5, bottom 10. And we usually get the Benidorm Fest package kind of transposed onto the Eurovision stage. I don't think they can do that this year. I think they need to be a bit more strategic. In terms of the televote, I think the televote's going to love the butts. And I think that the televote's going to like the disco song. This song is really fun, really accessible. Again, it doesn't have that massive first impact. Like I said, I put it 4th on my rank. I've seen a lot of people talking on Twitter about how Zorra has clicked with them, as in like now they're getting it, but it took like 3-4 listens before that happened. So that aspect worries me a little bit. Is this the type of song that people will like, but it's their 5th, 6th, 7th favorite, and then they only vote for their top 3? So televote wise, I don't know. Could this potentially be another 5-pointer? Maybe it could do much better and they understand the message of the song. But the important thing is, Spanish people are telling me even if this does get 5 points, they don't care. They'll live at the bottom of the table and be happy about it. And I kind of like that message. And I think that's probably a good approach to have to Eurovision anyway. I do hope that message stays consistent though, and it doesn't become, if there's a bad result, oh, we were robbed. Because then that kind of contradicts the we'll send what we want and we don't care. So really, really hard one to call. You know, there's lots of ifs. And the biggest if for me is, can they make non-Spaniards understand what's going on? And if they can, I don't know, this could maybe be a little bit of a surprise. Okay, let's have a look at the odds and see how Spain are doing in that. So it's currently sitting 20th in the odds right now, which actually isn't too bad for a released song. Usually the songs which are released, if people feel like there's no chance that they can win, they just go sink straight to the bottom. That's common, that happens every single year, because there are some songs you'll hear them and even if they're good, you know, this has no X factor, it can't possibly win. This does have a little bit of an X factor, so you know, a win is, I think, a very, very long shot at this point because there's too many ifs, but being mid-table is actually not that bad. Let's see how it's doing on the Eurovision scoreboard, and we can see that it's currently 6th. I think this will continue to go up. I think a lot of people were disappointed after Benidorm Fest because there were a lot of really good entries in the final. Like, I love Sam Beto. I needed like 2 days of mourning to get over him not going. A lot of people loved Angie. A lot of people loved Jorge Gonzalez. A lot of people love Sofia Kull. So there's a lot of people who are gonna need like a week or a month to get over it. But I think by the time we get to May, I'm already kind of over it, like 95% over it. By the time we get to May, I think everyone's going to be like saying Zorra, Zorra, Zorra in the crowd, and they'll be fine. And I think this will go up a little bit more. Let's have a look at Spain's result in the last 10 years. And we can see that Spain had these 5 bottom 5 finishes in a row between 2016 and 2021. Yeah, Spain used to absolutely utterly suck. And even when they did have a good song like La Benda, which was an amazing song, somehow managed to screw it up with the staging. So there have been huge changes in Spain since 2022. Benidorm Fest coming in has been an absolute, complete and utter success in my opinion, like one of the best change rounds we've ever had. And we had the 3rd place obviously from Chanel in 22 and 17th from Blanca Paloma last year, which is still a great result. I think a lot of people say, you know, the 5 points was obviously very disappointing from the televote. she still came 9th in the jury, which is really awesome, and 17th overall compared to this 22nd, 26th, 23rd, 22nd, 24th. 17th is good compared to that. Yeah, I hope that this doesn't get Spain in the bottom 5. I don't think it deserves it. Like I said, the meaning is amazing. The representation of her is awesome. How much Spanish people love this. I would love this to get some love, but the delegation needs to convert this something digestible by everybody, not just hardcore Spanish fans and hardcore Eurovision fans. Hardcore Eurovision fans are going to love it as well. But yeah, Spain currently 17th in the rankings. They are the 3rd best Big 5 country. I guess that's all that I thought about Nebulossa singing Zorra. What did you think? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. What do you think they could do staging wise? Are they going to keep the butts, or are they going to use the dancers in a different way? Are they going to put any English on the screen? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much to Mitch G and Aman for supporting me on PayPal. No new donations on Buy Me a Coffee, but you can support me there as well. I am a full-time content creator, so if you want to support the channel, I'll leave links to you in the description down below. Thank you so much to my patrons all over the world. When my videos get copyrighted, I put the original up onto my Patreon. There's also previews of some videos, some early releases, and you can be part of our My Eurovision Scoreboard group. So go check that out if you're a fan of the channel. But as always, thank you so much just for watching, and maybe leaving a like and maybe sharing the video. And thanks so much for watching. I've seen another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.